Welcome to George Coll Fine Art. Here, the viewer is encouraged to get outside and paint from life. George's job is to provide the tools to solve the many technical challenges faced in rendering landscape paintings. View the library of landscape paintings offered and become a subscriber. You can also purchase tutorial videos, plus original tutorial and studio paintings. Thank you. And if you like what you see, click the subscribe button and join in on the fun.
Hello and welcome to part 3 of Indian Peaks. I'm George Coll and we finished it. So today was detail and we concentrated on all those little balance things with the warning of don't lose sight of the finished product. Don't overdo it, okay? Sometimes enough is enough. Or maybe stop a little bit before you think you're done and give it a good look. And don't get hung up on all those little things. Keep the big shapes, the integrity of the values. Don't lose them. And because we spent a lot of time in part 1 and 2 getting those things right. And if you do that, you're going to turn out a good painting. So, all right, I'll stop talking in the intro and let's get started and finish this painting. Okay. Hello and welcome to part 3 of Indian Peaks. Well, today we hope we finish this, and I know we will. And we'll do this in the next 30 minutes while we talk about detail. Now, detail is kind of like the icing on the cake. And we do that after the cake is baked. And so we bake this cake, and now we're going to add some, excuse me, my dog is out there barking at people. Shh. Okay, I think she's good. So what we want to do is work on all these wonderful little things that brings about some sense of detail in there. And I want to just kind of guard you people against getting into detail right away. I wait till the end. I want to have a firm, beautiful foundation, which I think I have. You're going to notice something different from yesterday because I had a critique from my professional group yesterday, and my tree configuration, they said, well, it looks too uniform. So I knocked out one of the big trees and put this small guy in there. All right, so I think there are some minor drawing details, like I think I need a dark underneath this green right here, but otherwise I think I can go ahead and get started. So with that, let's go ahead and work on trees, okay? So I think what I need to do is start thinking about the shape of these trees. If you look at the reference, there are really these are kind of uniform all the way, from large to small. But I think what I really like about this reference, there's some really big gaps of no limbs. And I think I'm going to experiment with that and see what we can come up with. So that's kind of a purpley thing, I think, in there. So it's a gray, just a touch of purple. What I'm worried about is I went off-site to a different studio yesterday to work with my professional group. And we just help each other and critique and have, kind of a social time, too. And what I find is when I come back, I put all these colors back that I have, and so my colors are all mixed up. But I think they're in the general right neighborhood, but I might be calling some wrong shots here. And here I'm making some inroads in this little guy here on the left. I have to put out some better purple. Mine's so sticky, sticking. Sometimes if they sit around for a couple days, they have a hard shell. The paint inside is good, but when you're just trying to get a delicate little bit, it's kind of hard to get in there and get the right mixture. Let's see here. I think we're on 2 now. And I'm bringing in some inroads into that poor little tree. Now I need some greens, I think. Have to get some grays. I think this was a little bit of emerald, just a touch of emerald. More emerald, please. Just a little bit. Let me make I think there's some yellow ochre in there too. Anyway, background colors are usually lighter. And if you make the wrong mixture like I just did, it's a little off. You can cover up the other stuff and that's your color. All right, I'm giving you all the tricks of the trade here, I can see. You say, well, that's cheating. And yes, it is. Okay. And let me get a little bit more break in right into this area right in here. Yeah, they're starting to look like, hey, I'm subalpine and it's tough to survive up here, and I lose a few limbs every now and then. Poor guys. They have it pretty rough up there. Again, this is, I think, Lost Lake, or a Long Lake up there in Indian Peaks Wilderness area. Oh, wrong color. Get that green off of there. And I think we're going to do some inroads on this fella here. So I'm going to make a little Hansa yellow and a little light yellow lemon and bring in some stuff here. And I might as well spread some of the wealth over into here too. That is so pretty. I'll probably screw it up by putting more in here, but I'm going to. I love this stage of the painting. It's just surprising how much you can screw up a painting just by, oh, I love that so much, I'm going to do more of it. So be careful. So as you can see, I do get back quite a bit here to see what to do and to make judgments. And I'll do some inroads in these fellas too. Because if you look at the reference, there's all kinds of sky holes coming through here, or background light coming through the trees, particularly up in this area up in here. And I think that will work for us. All right. I want to make some Indian yellow here. Let me see if I can find it. As I said, my stuff is so screwed up here because of all these colors I put back on my palette this morning. Oh, I can see I have some Indian yellow out now. Okay. So if you do some ultra blue and some Indian, makes for a very nice color. But of course I may put too much ultra blue in it. Let me see if I lighten it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we come. And you can see we have a lot of noise making out there. We have a big truck that got down there one way and now he's backing up to get out of a tight situation. Lighten that up just a little bit more. And bring some of that into here to sculpt this tree too. And I think I better get some of that into here to make these guys look like they're the same species as these fellas. So I'm going to get some of this pine tree color up in these trees, particularly the upper part, because I need to introduce worms in my paintings sometimes. Okay, so far it's working. Thank you. Thank you. Said I needed a dark under here. Let me see what I can do here. And probably some light. So let me see what I can do with. Of course, it helps to clean your brush to get the paint out from the previous guy. And I will get some right in here. So I'm sculpting some shapes into this area. And it helps to have some lights, just some lights. And you can see how I'm going to break up the yellow just a little bit on the lower section. And soften that edge. There's some yellows in there too now. And I'm going to break that up into here. See how that edge gets so nicely made there. And now I'm going to get some green into here and in here. And I'm using the green we had just a little bit ago. It's a little bit brighter. You see, I'm just using kind of the side of the brush in what I call a scrumble. And spreading that around. And I'm going to bring some of this color into these trees to make them look like there's some background color coming through also. I did too much, so I'm going to go back and replace some of this green in there. Oh, this stuff is so much fun. Okay, I think I'm a little too strong with this warm green, so I'm going to reintroduce some ultra blue and this kind of darky green stuff I have called verdigris. Anyway, it's a green. And I'm going to get just some cad yellow in here. The old standby. And I'm going to get a lot of yellow in here to try to counterbalance some of this warm here just a little bit. I want it just to not be too warm. See how that just cooled it down just a little bit. And I'm breaking up this edge here. What I see though is a dark on top here. More of a dark. And I see it in the reference. Not everywhere, but just enough. And I put too much of it there, and I'm just going to soften it. And a little, there we go. Oh, what? See, I love to play around with this stuff. And so, if you're into detail, this is your time to go for it and to spend as much time as you want, but without losing the overall integrity of your shapes and your values, okay? All right. No more lectures. Okay, let's get some cooler blues in here. Let me get some bluey blues. So blue is kind of close to green. Some of these blues, cobalt and cerulean, have a lot of green. They're starting to lean toward the green side. But I want to introduce some of that to use here in the painting, because I see it in the reference. And I need to go back to a little bit of yellow, because I went a little too strong with the blue, and keep it balanced. See how I go back and forth on this? Sometimes you just need a good swath of light coming through here too. And I get that sometimes just with the knife. Now, in these darks are these rich greens. So I'm mixing some rich green, which is dark green and a little bit of permanent green, to show how important these vegetation guys are. To doing the job. Now there's some reflection here in the water, so I'm going to be doing some of that in here also. I see a lot of it right in here. Now there's some really nice darks in here. And again, I'm using the side of the brush in kind of a scrumble. And these darks kind of come down in these nice patterns, spreading their wealth out to the surrounding neighborhood in the way of darks. And I see some coming down from here also. And this big fella needs to be broken up just a little bit, this big shape. Now, I'm going to look at my time, and I see that in these pine trees, we have light coming off the tops of, and at the ends of some of these bristly things. So I see it as kind of a blue-green. So here's some green, here's some blue. And it kind of shows up at the end. So let me see what I can do here about putting some of these. It's not light enough, so I'm going to go lighter. I haven't added any Gamsol, so it's a little bit more of a drier mixture. Boy, that didn't do the trick, did it? It was too light. Got to go back to dark. Let me fix that little mistake there. Dark, please. Dark, please. And let's go back to our mixture and try it over on this side. I'm just using the side of the brush to accent some of these pine guys. I don't think that's the right terminology, pine guys, but I think that works. There we go. I want to make sure I have an edge on this thing. Let me see what I can do. See, wiping off the excess and just trying to work the edge. There we go. That's what I've been chasing. Wipe off the excess and get some of these guys in here. Whew. Man, I stopped breathing there while I was doing that. And I see here in the reference, there's kind of a bowl here of light. So I'm going to go back to this purpley thing. Oh, I still have green in here. Let me clean him out of there. Might be a wise time to move to a different brush. So I'm going into this purple white stuff I have here. This purple is diazine purple. But it has to be light, so let me see if it... There it is, and it's kind of right in here that I have a... It's coming out warm. I'm going to change brushes because I have some contamination in my brush. Okay, here's a clean brush. So I dip it in game salt, I wipe it very dry, and here we go. So I'm going to touch of gray, touch of purple, and a little bit of white. And let's go into here. And let's go with some real stronger white now on some of the snowfields that even up here show up this late in the year. Now I would love to overdo it, but I have to be really careful. Just those little guys there, see, they, even when you stand back, it still makes a statement here of what's going on. So I think I need to bring some of these lights down into here too. So I'm going to scrumble some in. And I'll put some in here. And bring some lights up into the upper areas here. And maybe one little dab will do you right in here. Now there's kind of a dip in the clouds, or in the mountain here. And I want to try to bring that into right here. and even lighten this area here to accent what's going on. Got a good, even lighter, I think. And I'm going to be spreading this over here and bringing that, I think, that warmer color. I'm going to see what I can do with some cerulean. Too much white. There's some dull sky color there in the way of color, but it still has a nice lighter value. You can see it in the reference. So I'm going to eliminate some of the warms that I have established here and bring in this lighter, paler blue color. Because it's also fun to do. And accent some of these mountains here. And I'm going to do some lightening up in these areas too. All right, I hope I didn't overdo this thing. And there's some reds in there too. Let me see how my time is doing. Getting close, sorry. So I added a little bit of alizarin to the green. And I'll be working with some of that in the painting's foreground. That is a pretty strong color, so be careful with it. And it's always fun to have a few of these. To add to all these greens because we have so much green. Oh boy, I think if I keep messing with it, I'll screw it up. So let me grab my coffee and stand back here and tell you that is a cute little painting. I think we could even make a larger painting from this and do very, very well with it. So I did a lot of experimenting up in this mountain here just recently on this part 3, and I like that little bowl as it comes down. I kind of see that in the reference. It still feels a little warm, and I may be needing to put some cooler colors in there, but I think it's time to bring this thing to an end. And I like the look of these tortured trees too. They're just, gnarly, and they have all these background lights coming through them. And I just think that is so cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is get a little bit more red and just put my signature right here. A little bit more red. Boy, we have a lot of trucks outside today. And here we go. That's all we need. Finish. All right. Thanks for coming by. I hope you have as much fun making this painting as I have, and enjoy the process. So again, thank you so much for coming by. Hit that subscribe button and we will be on our way. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next landscape painting. All right. Bye-bye.